I realized something was wrong when I looked down at the ground. My footprints were glowing. At first I thought it was just moisture reflecting the moonlight, but the forest was too dark for that. The faint blue light pulsed softly from every step I had taken through the mud. Each footprint shined like a marker in the darkness, leading straight to where I stood. The anomaly in this forest had already caused strange things. Broken compasses, silent birds, trees that seemed to move when no one watched. But glowing tracks? That was new. Then I heard it. A distant crack of branches somewhere behind me. Heavy. Slow. Powerful. Not the cautious movement of a deer or fox. Something much larger was pushing its way through the trees. I turned my head just enough to look back into the fog. At first, there was nothing. Just mist and shadows twisting between the trunks. And then the silhouette appeared. A bear. But not a normal one. It moved slowly along the trail, following the glowing footprints I had left behind. I checked the wind and felt my stomach drop. If it kept following those tracks, it would reach me in 5 minutes. I dropped to one knee and tried to wipe the glowing footprints away with my sleeve. The mud smeared easily, but the light didn't disappear. Instead, the glow spread across the ground like faint veins beneath the soil. Every step I had taken through the forest had become a signal, shining softly in the darkness. Behind me, another branch snapped. Closer this time, I froze. Slowly, carefully, I looked over my shoulder again. The fog shifted between the trees, revealing a clearer shape this time. The bear stepped into a pale strip of moonlight, and my breath caught in my throat. It was enormous, larger than any bear I had ever seen. Its back was crooked, its fur patchy and uneven. One of its shoulders looked swollen, almost mutated. But the worst part wasn't its size. It wasn't wandering randomly through the woods. Its head stayed low to the ground, nose hovering inches above the glowing tracks. Following them. Following me. I glanced ahead at the trail disappearing into the fog. If I kept moving, I'd leave more tracks. If I stayed still, it would still reach me in less than 5 minutes. I had no choice but to move. Staying in one place would only make the ending faster. I stepped carefully between roots and rocks, trying to touch as little ground as possible, but every step betrayed me. Another glowing footprint appeared behind me, then another. The trail of blue light stretched through the forest like a runway, guiding the monster straight toward me. The bear must have realized I was moving, because the sounds behind me suddenly changed. The slow, patient steps turned into something faster. Branches snapped in quick succession. Bushes shook violently as something massive forced its way through them. I didn't dare turn around again. I could already imagine the creature lowering its head to inspect each glowing mark in the soil, following them with terrifying precision. The forest around me felt wrong. Too quiet. Too still. Even the wind seemed to avoid this place. Then I heard something that made my blood run cold. A deep growl. Low, hungry, and much closer than before. I dove behind a fallen tree and pressed my body against the damp bark. My chest rose and fell too fast, each breath louder than the last. I forced myself to slow down, trying not to make a sound. The glowing tracks leading to my hiding place were impossible to ignore. They shined like a trail of small blue fires in the dirt. Seconds passed. Then I heard it again. A heavy step. Another. The ground trembled slightly as the creature approached. I could hear its breathing, now deep, wet, and steady. Slowly, I lifted my eyes over the edge of the log. The bear stepped out of the fog just a few meters away. Up close, it looked even worse than before. One of its eyes glowed faintly through matted fur. Its claws dragged across the ground, carving lines through the glowing soil. Its head lowered toward the tracks. Toward me. I held my breath completely. If it followed the last footprint, it would reach the log in less than a minute. The bear stopped directly in front of the glowing trail. For a moment, everything became silent. The creature stared at the last footprint in the dirt, the blue light reflecting faintly in its damaged eye. Its massive paw lifted slowly, hovering above the mark. I could see the muscles in its shoulders shifting beneath torn patches of fur. It sniffed the air once, then lowered its head again to examine the ground. The glowing track ended just a few feet from where I hid behind the log. If it took one more step, it would see me. My fingers tightened around the damp bark as I searched desperately for any way out of this. Running would only leave more tracks. Staying still meant the bear would eventually look up. The forest held its breath along with me. Then the creature did something strange. It stopped sniffing the ground, and slowly lifted its head. Not toward the tracks. Toward the bushes where I was hiding.